Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, this is Stacy over at the Skull Rock broadcast. I am joined by...
Hello, this is Megan. Welcome back to our Stranger Things podcast. We are so excited to be back chatting with you, and it's been a couple weeks since we talked to each other, so it's been nice. We've been catching up a little bit, and we are excited to catch up with you all and talk about the next episode of season 4 in this deep dive. How's it going, Stace?
It's going pretty good. Daylight savings time makes me want to die. But besides that, we are in Stranger Things month. And tomorrow, I know this will already pass when this airs, but tomorrow is Stranger Things Day, November 6th. And the countdown for Volume 1 is on. So pretty pumped. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think we're at 3 weeks today until Volume 1. So very exciting. A little stressful because we are going to do our best to get our season 4 deep dive wrapped up before that. So we've got 4 more episodes, I think, after this one in the next 3 weeks. So we're gonna be cranking them out, guys, but I work really well under pressure, so
Yep.
we got this.
We got this.
I am doing great though. I always have a little bit of a hard time with the daylight savings time ending too, but I think that my post-concert depression has not quite kicked in yet. I'm still kind of on that high.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll see how I'm doing. But right now, I'm pretty good.
Everybody check in on Megan. Yeah.
Yeah. I just got done going to 5 Hotel Mira shows in 8 days last week. So it was a little bit of a wild ride, but it was everything. It was so perfect. And as everybody knows, I've been so excited to see them ever since I discovered them with Mandy sending me a random TikTok back in May, at the end of May. So yeah, it's just everything has worked out so well with just getting into their music, but then also just being able to travel to a few shows, go to shows with friends. I went to the New York show with Juan, and then Philly and DC were the local shows to me, and then Mandy and our other friend Amanda were doing the shows in Atlanta and Nashville. They ended up bailing on me for Nashville, so I was at the Nashville show by myself, but it was super fun going to the Atlanta show with them. And yeah, so I had a great time, got to meet the band and the 2 openers, Passion Mango and Nat Lefkoff. Highly recommend their music as well, and they're all super cool guys. So yeah, I had a blast. But again, that's done, and we are in Stranger Things land. I am going to buckle down. And yeah, I'm excited. We were talking about how I'm excited, but emotional. And I feel like we've mentioned this a few times already, but I was just telling Stacy that if we didn't have a podcast about Stranger Things, I would probably put off watching the end of the show.
Sick bastard.
I just have some sort of mental illness. I mean, I have a lot of mental illnesses, I'm sure.
Same.
But yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get through it together, and I love that we're doing this season 4 rewatch right before season 5 too.
Everything's fresh in our memory.
Everything's fresh in our memory, and it's also just this is just this capsule, this time capsule of this time right before season 5. I think that the season 4 rewatches would be different once we've seen season 5, because all we would want to talk about is the connections that we see to season 5. So it really has to be right now that we do it. So it's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's dive into Vecna's soupy world.
The Nina Project.
The Nina Project.
This is a cool episode. That is the episode that you were prepared to talk about today, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
No, Steve Harrington, he says something like along the lines like Max like went to his soupy world, and I thought it was so funny. I was like, yeah, that's kind of a good way to describe it. It's a red soupy world.
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
It is kind of soupy because everything's like swirling around
Yeah,
like a
it's
tomato
soup.
bisque.
Yeah, look at that. Tomato bisque. That's what you should name the episode. All right.
Tomato
so
bisque.
let's get into it.
Let's get into it. It starts.
It starts with the Surfer Boy pizza van is frantically driving.
Yeah,
and
hold
the-
on. Can you, as me, I'm like, Stacey, we have to keep this episode short.
I know. I'm
and then I'm
literally
already cutting her off.
trying to stick to the script,
Because
guys. You
I
heard
had-
it here first.
I had this connection to the very beginning because they're in the desert, right? And like
Right.
you said, the Surfer Boy pizza van is like speeding, but
Yeah.
like there's insects making noise. And for some reason, what my brain went to in this very beginning scene is like the rescuers down under,
Oh, I love that fucking movie.
but like just the desert vibes.
Because
Like,
they were the rescuers, and then they were the ones that went down under. That was
Yeah.
the sequel.
yes.
Oh my
And
god.
They're in Australia, and there's that really hot mouse that
Mm-hmm.
I was bringing up when Joe was wearing a cowboy hat in Australia. I was
You were like, it's kind of
"Oh,
given
It's given that mouse.
when you want to fuck a mouse. Don't judge everyone. So it's giving that vibe. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my what was it called? Hear Me Out. That was my Hear Me Out. That
Oh.
mouse.
I would usually pick the fox from Robin Hood.
Yes, that one's good too.
Everybody wanted to fuck
I
that
know.
fox. Yeah.
I know.
What's the
But
matter with
anyway.
us? Anyways, okay, sorry. We're talking about wanting to fuck animated animals. All right, anyways, whoa, way off track. So the boys are frantically trying to stop the bleeding of the secret agent dude fellow, and he literally is like gurgling with blood, and he's like Owens, and then he's like saying something about the girl, and then he says like here's their number, and he goes to like hand a pen. You think like, oh, he's gonna write it down, and then he just drops dead. And I love that Argyle, he's kind of driving, but at the same time panicking because he's like, what's going on back there? And I love
Mhm.
when he's like, didn't they say like he needs to go to like Saint something, like
yeah,
some
like a hospital.
And he's like, I don't think prayers are going to help this guy right now.
Yeah, but then it's another instance of them just like shouting at each other when they're driving because I think they notice that there's like maybe people following them
Oh, yeah, and they get off the
and
road,
they're like,
which
get
I'm
off
like,
the road.
they're in the
Yeah.
middle of the damn open, but whatever.
Yeah. I'm like,
so-
wouldn't they see you drive
Was
off the
that
road?
what the inside of the car looked like when you guys were circling around the Atlanta airport to pick me up? Was that live footage?
Get off the road.
Get off the road. So
I,
we
I
then
was just at the Atlanta airport and Amanda picked me up
flashbacks.
and it went a lot smoother than when I picked you up.
That's because they were trying to
unfortunately.
kill me, guys. That's really the truth. All right, so we then cut to Sullivan, and him and all his government men are kind of like storming Joyce's house, which the poor house is shot to shit. And he comes upon Eleven's note to Mike, and he brings it to the other secret agent dude who's wounded and he's not doing too good, gasping for air. He's basically like, tell me where the girl is, and I'll let you live.
Yeah. So I'm
Poor son of a
assuming
bitch.
that he did
So
tell.
you see him in the next episode. He's basically in like the equivalent of the boo box from like Hook, and they're
Oh.
torturing him. And he
I
spills
forgot about
the
that.
beans.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So Elle wakes up in the car with Owens, and they're again in the desert, and they're on their way to their top secret location. And it says that that was 12 hours ago. So they go down into that bunker. So you see that door like in the middle of nowhere and meet the staff. And apparently these are tunnels that were built for intercontinental ballistic missiles out in the desert, but it was giving me Death Star vibes.
Of course it was.
So that's my introduction to everything down
Mhm.
here in this bunker is like so Star Wars coded to me. So I think that this setting always makes me think of the Death Star. So
Mhm.
they kind of see the big machine thing
Yeah.
and they're like, we call her Nina. And then who makes an appearance, Stacey?
Gotta make sure I say his name right. So comes walking down around Nina all dramatically. And I don't know about you, Megan, but like this wasn't really that big of a surprise, but I felt it was necessary. It was a plot point that needed to happen. But somehow, magically, Dr. Brenner, there we go, he has escaped and survived the Demogorgon attack that killed everybody else. And he has a little bit of scarring on the face. And he's revealed to be the one kind of behind this all who says he can get Eleven's powers back. So it looks like Papa is back.
Yeah. And she has like some flashes of like her past with him.
Yeah, not great.
No, because she's not happy about seeing him again. She's
No.
definitely got like a lot of trauma and PTSD about like her childhood with him,
Yep.
rightfully so. But he wants to work together again. She runs. She's caught and they inject her with like whatever that sedative was.
So many people are injected in the neck in this show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ow.
Yeah. It's very like, gives me like the heebie-jeebies. But he says, "You're home now." And that's the credits.
What a dick. Anywho, over on snowy Russia, we see back at the prison, Hop is getting beaten. And the head guard is like, "What did I say? You don't run." And that was my Russian impression. I was really proud of it. And they drag him back to a cell, and he's barefoot too. And like, guys, I'm in New England right now. It's like 46 out, and I'm like dying. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I've lived here my whole life. Seeing Hop in those kind of conditions, and I'm sure he's used to it now, but it's just like seeing the snow on the ground. It was just making me go like, this poor bastard, he's already beaten up enough. And they throw him in a cell, and Dmitri reveals that he also got caught and that Yuri was, kind of like betrayed them and that he's lost everything. They took a gamble and they lost. And of course, Hop is like, you said we could trust you. And I love when it looks like he's about to beat Dmitri up, this other Russian prisoner. This was like live footage of Stacey back in high school. Anytime I saw a scuffle, I was too much of a pussy to get involved, but I'd be like, yeah, hit him, do it. And then I'd just like lose interest as soon as like it looks like nothing's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
right away he's like, we're both like fucked. We're both caught. We're trapped. And
Yeah.
he's so worried about Joyce.
Yeah, he's mostly just concerned about Joyce, but the other Star Wars connection.
Here we go.
So when you see that door and like it's kind of like there's like some sort of monster behind it and you can kind of hear it and like
Oh yeah.
I always think of like Jabba the Hutt and like that like pit that he has that he puts the people down in, and then there's this door that comes up and like the monster comes out and like they have to fight it or whatever, like when they're in his palace, like, or whatever it is. So that's what that always reminds me of in the prison too, like when
because he's dragged through the arena, and I do remember like that's a big part of, because we always call Stranger Things season 4 the Empire Strikes Back kind of like season, because like the heroes kind of lose. So I definitely see those kind of like homages definitely with the bad guys.
But back at Yuri's fish and I always want to say fish and fry instead of fish and fly.
Play on words.
Yuri gets the plane to start. And
Me started my old Honda Pilot
I love how that song "Traveling Man" plays as they
by
take
Ricky
off.
Nelson.
And it cuts to the men like fishing on Lover's Lake back in Hawkins.
That
And,
kills me.
Yeah, it's like
Goddamn justice system.
it's such a good transition, but also that's such a funny scene because they're out fishing and they see people, like they notice that someone's inside Reefer Rick's house, so they assume that somehow he got out of prison early, like
Goddamn justice system is a goddamn joke.
but it's not Rick.
No. It's Eddie, and I get it. He must have gone through all those Funyuns and all those honeycombs. So is it honeycombs or honeycombs?
Combs.
honeycombs.
Yeah.
So he's hungry, so he's looking around, and he ends up finding a can of SpaghettiOs.
I
And
ate so much SpaghettiOs in college.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. We all know what that sauce tastes like.
It's so good. Like,
Look at
I
Megan.
kind of
She's getting all
want it.
nostalgic. She's like,
And I
know.
wasn't a vegetarian back then, so the SpaghettiOs with meatballs.
Oh, they slapped. I was going to say
Yeah.
we should have eaten a can each during this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
I
see.
might have to do that.
But he makes it, and what does he end up radioing?
So he calls to try to ask for a food delivery. Dustin is sleeping, and Nancy ends up answering. And so he asks for food and some beer and cigarettes.
Yeah. He's like, my jagged nerves. And
Yeah.
I do love that Nancy, like, you kind of see her roll her eyes and stuff. And I love everybody asleep in the background in the basement. Like, the fact that, like, Steve and Lucas both slept that way, I'm like, man, that must have been uncomfortable. But then she clocks that Max isn't there. So
Correct.
she looks at Dustin and she's like, where's Max? You were supposed to be on watch, because they've been keeping a close eye on her. And right away he's like, oh, shit. And they go upstairs. And I love that she kind of hangs up on Eddie, and Eddie's just like with his pot of spaghetti. I was like, Wheeler. And upstairs we see Karen, and she's making a delightful breakfast with Ted. And I do like she does comment, because remember, I think it was like an episode beforehand or so, we were like, what the hell? Is anybody like actually that lives here home? Do they know all these kids that are like staying over? And Karen says something along the lines of, I love that you guys all sticking together over spring break and hanging out. And she's like making a big spread, and Ted is beside himself. He's just over it. But who does she see coloring with Miss Holly Wheeler? In the nook?
Yeah, so Max is drawing with Holly. Holly has let her borrow some of her crayons, she says. And I think, is Holly coloring, or is she playing with the light bright?
I think she has the light bright.
Yeah, she has that light bright a lot. But anyway, I love how Ted is like, you could try sticking together at a different house for a change. And Dustin takes all the pancakes.
You're
But
like family.
yeah. Dustin, I was glad that we watched Nightmare on Elm Street.
Good girl.
Because Dustin says that maybe Max infiltrated his mind, like finding Freddy Krueger's boiler room. And then Holly is like, Freddy Krueger. And he tells her that he's a super burned up man with razors for fingers who kills you in your dreams. And Nancy like scolds him for that, and he's like, it's just a movie.
I'm sorry, it's fake.
But Dustin says that her drawings are kind of vague. He's like giving Max a really hard time about it.
Freaking Dustin, I do
know.
love that Nancy, this is almost like a callback to her taping together the ripped up photo of Barb that
Yep.
Jonathan took in season
Yep.
1. So she kind of like shows she's using the old noggin, and she starts placing them together almost like a puzzle piece. And she realizes that actually all these drawings make a house.
Right. She notices the window first, and she like thinks that like she's seen that before. And then Max is like, see, I'm not so bad after all. And Justin just like grimaces and shrugs. But yeah, Nancy folds all the papers, puts them together. She realizes it's the Creel house. And then she goes to wake up the others, and Dustin takes some more pancakes on his way out.
Road pancake, come on.
We cut to Elle's eyes opening as she wakes, and it always makes me think of the blooper of this scene
When she looks right at the camera.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I have to say, guys, I went to special effects school, doing a lot with that degree, guys. But literally, I have seen some huge productions. I'm talking like masterclass effects artists and teams, big budget shows and movies. And you can tell when somebody's wearing a bald cap, or you can tell when somebody has their hair underneath. And I guess they asked Millie Bobby Brown, but she had other projects lined up, so it kind of made sense. She couldn't shave her head like she did when she was a kid. So basically, they gelled and glued it down. And I have to give props to that entire team. it looks flawless. And I'm telling you, that is one thing I can't help but pick apart when I see a bald cap or somebody with supposedly buzzed hair, but you can tell it just looks like too big, too risen up, almost lumpy. This looks flawless. And the fact that Millie sat and got this done, and I heard it took a while, took hours, but it just looks so goddamn good. But I do love the look of just heartbreak, because you can tell, like, almost this was something of pride and normalcy with her being able to finally be able to grow her hair out. And it was the longest it had ever been. She even remarked in Mike's letter and in episode 1. So just seeing that thing has been taken from her, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's really devastating. And she's in that hospital gown. There's a camera in the room. The rainbow drawing is there. She realizes that her hair is cut short, and like just the tears that run from her eyes. And then there's that like lion, I think, stuffed animal that is kind of like a recurring little detail in the bed with her. So they've kind of set it up like her room at the lab. She opens the door, it has an 11 on it, and she walks down the hall, and where is she?
She ends up in the rainbow room, like game room, and she sees that friendly orderly, and he's basically saying, like, morning, sleepyhead, like, you joined us. And right away she's like, am I in Hawkins? And just with the flickering lights and stuff and the look of confusion, and basically what happens is it almost resets.
Yeah.
And she turns around, and there he is standing, repeating the same thing again. It's almost like she's stuck in a loop, and she begins to panic.
Right. So this is where she's realizing that maybe she wasn't just in this room that was set up to look like her room in the lab. Maybe she is in the lab somehow. And like you said, they're monitoring her, and we see outside of the fact that they're monitoring her vitals. But yeah, it just starts to reset. And then we transition away from there to the junkyard.
Yeah. Somebody's crashing out.
Yeah, they're burying the secret agent guy, and Argyle is freaking out.
Yeah.
Jonathan tells him to go to the van and do his thing.
I love that Will goes,
yeah.
You think him getting more high is going to help?
And he's like, I think maybe it's the only thing that's going to help. But Will and Mike have a sweet moment here about how it's scary to open up about your feelings, sometimes especially to the people you are closest to. And while they're having that talk, Argyle, he's, I guess, settled down a little bit at this point, and he decided that he wanted to make the agent a tombstone.
With all of their names. And I love that Jonathan's like, we just spent the last hour burying him, making sure he's not found. And you want to leave a tombstone with all of our names? Just our first names.
It's going to say, here lies unknown hero agent man, saved Argyle, Jonathan, Will, and Mike from certain death. But his pen is not working, and they figure out that it's the pen that the secret agent man had given them, and that it's not actually a functional pen. There's a number inside.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of my favorite scenes from season 4 that features Hopper. So it's basically him sitting down, and, Dimitri's trying to first get like the attention of a guard, but the guard's ignoring him. And they're sitting down, and right away Hop goes into this speech about how he believes he's been cursed. And it's set to the theme from the 1986 thriller movie, The Hitcher, which I do recommend to you. It's very well made. It stars C. Thomas Howell, basically, and he looks gorgeous in it too. It gives kind of Steve vibes. But he's driving cross country with a rent-a-car, and in the middle of the desert one night during a storm, he sees a guy hitchhiking, and he's just like, okay, I'll pick him up. So he picks him up, and unfortunately the guy ends up being a freaking psychopath. And he luckily kicks him out of the car, but for the remainder of the movie, this guy is stalking him on the back highways and trying to frame him for all these horrific murders that are going on. It is one of my favorites. It's so well done. I love that they picked that movie in particular, and it's got such a beautiful score. But you hear the ending score play as Hop kind of talks about how he ended up getting drafted for Vietnam, how his dad. Clearly, there was a strained relationship, possibly abusive, and how he thought he was a piece of shit. So he ended up serving. And then he talks about basically Agent Orange and what really happened to those men over there and how they were clueless. They didn't realize that they weren't using protective gear. What they were using was extremely toxic and cancerous, and how they had no idea that, you know, it would affect them later down the line. And he talks about how he came back home, met his ex. She wanted a baby. They had their daughter, Sarah, and you see flashbacks of them playing in the park, you know, that we've seen before, and how, unfortunately, a lot of men who served over there, their children were born stillborn or with mutations, and basically Sarah ended up getting cancer and died a very slow, painful death, and how he's always blamed himself. But I love when the score kind of rises, he starts talking about how he kept himself away from so many people, but then Joyce and Elle came into his life. And what does he say about them?
Yeah, he said he thought that Elle and Joyce needed him, but it was actually that he needed them. But it's interesting because the Agent Orange thing, if you look it up, the U.S. government still denies that it causes cancer, illness, or birth defects, despite wide reports of these symptoms after exposure, because basically it was like a herbicide, like it would kill like the plant, so they were trying to like cut off the food supply, I guess, but it was definitely more like chemical warfare. And the exposure to that stuff like truly actually did have these effects on people. But he said that he wasn't cursed, that he is the curse. And that was kind of powerful too. The other kind of connection I had while I was watching this scene was it's interesting to watch this scene having seen the first shadow, because we see Hopper's dad in the first shadow, and we actually see him leave for the war at the end. So that was kind of like a little bit more context to this scene. But then we hear Dimitri say that he's heard rumors of a monster from America and that Hopper is right. They're going to die there.
I'd be like, I'm so glad you listened to my speech. Great. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So then we see the other side of the government, kind of the ones that were kind of like involved with the whole switcheroo with Eleven and Owens. And we see them arrive at actually Wayne Munson's trailer, and they knock on the door, and they have all these like, they look like they're from Ghostbusters, like little like meters and stuff. I don't know, for radiation. And they're looking around, and Wayne's just got like his arms crossed. He's like, yeah, it might be a leak, you know? And me, I'd be like, that looks like black mold. You need to get the fuck out of here. And right away, they're like, we're moving you. And you can tell there's nothing he can do. So he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we then go to Chrissy's funeral.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. What happens there?
It's, for one, I thought that the funeral happened pretty quickly.
Really quick. Like, I'm sorry. That had to be a closed casket.
Yeah.
Right?
And always when I see her mom, because the first time we see her mom is in Chrissy's like vision where the mom is like, looks like a monster. So then when you see the mom
body shamed her, you bitch.
Yeah. At the funeral, you like hate her.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Her putting on the tears, like, please.
But Jason is there, and obviously he's having a lot of thoughts. But like, we also see Patrick, and Patrick sees the clock. So he's sort of having that like vision again. So we kind of we know that he is he's also cursed by Vecna. But then afterwards, Jason shows the photos that he's gotten from somebody at the yearbook, and it has Lucas in the photos with the rest of the Hellfire Club. So Patrick actually brings up something like, oh, I wonder if the Hellfire Club, this cult, is like actually doing something to curse us. And they kind of make fun of him a little bit. Like, Patrick thinks he's cursed, but obviously we know he's saying that because of these visions that he's having. Yeah. But Jason's like, I don't believe in any of that supernatural stuff. like,
Oh,
but
well,
we
you will by the end of this
yeah.
goddamn episode.
yeah, we need to find him.
And then I hate that it's such an afterthought too. That is it Patrick? It's somebody.
it's another kid.
He ends up going like, oh, I heard like another place that he might be is Reefer Rick's because he's, away serving time. And he goes, it could be a dead end. And she's like, no, we're adding it to the list. And you're like,
yeah.
oh no.
Because it's those fishermen must have seen it because that was like the whole connection.
Started
there.
gabbing, yeah.
But then the whole Scooby-Doo gang shows up at the Creel house. And I love Steve's line here. I didn't remember this. Yeah, that's not creepy.
Such a good shot of the house. And I love, like, you can almost hear like a clock chime. It's very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque.
Yeah.
And I love, you see him and Nancy, they're prying the door open, like almost like the plywood that's covering it. And that's when he says the whole, like, oh, so we think because, Max got into his soupy red world. And I love how nervous they are when right away, you don't think, like Lucas goes, you don't think he's still in there. And they all look really nervous. Max is like, well, I guess we're going to find out.
Yep.
And Robin smashes the window. She has a key, which I love stained glass. So that kind of made me go,
I know.
oh,
I'm like,
damn.
why couldn't we get in through another window?
Yeah, we
like,
had to break that.
The pretty window?
The pretty
it bothered
window?
me too.
That house doesn't have a whole lot going for it. You can tell we're in our late 30s. We're like, the property value is decreasing. But they go in and the place looks like a dump. It looks like a haunted house, literally. And they even say, like, they just up and left because of everything that happened, with Victor. And I don't know, just Dustin is laying on the goddamn sass in this scene.
Yeah, with Steve, because Steve is like, well, where'd everybody get the flashlights? And Dustin's like, are you a child? Like, do you need to be told everything? Like, so mean. But he gives Dustin gives Steve his backpack, and he's like, back pocket, there's another flashlight in there for Steve. But then Steve was kind of dumb. Like, he just put the backpack down and left it there, like with the radio in it. Not the greatest idea. But then they see the clock, and Max keeps asking, like, throughout this episode, she's like, do you guys see that? Because she's like, not sure if she's having another vision, and it's the clock from her visions. And so like,
I love the
somehow
whole clock
there's
maker
connection.
thing.
Yeah, and Steve is like, maybe Vecna's a clockmaker, which I hold to the fact that that's going to have some sort of connection in season 5.
Clocks.
Yeah, and I mean, there is like the time component, right? So something like clocks, time travel. So I think that that's going to be like a connection. Then that Steve really did crack the case, as Dustin teases him about in this episode. But then they kind of pair up to explore the house, and Steve does sigh pretty heavily.
Was that a sigh?
Yeah.
We're just always paired up together, man.
Yeah. I mean, if I were Steve, I would be tired of Dustin's little sassy ass at this point anyway.
I saved your ass how many times? And I did your hair before the snowball? You did.
Yeah. So we go back to, we actually are on the plane now.
Okay.
Yuri opens up a jar of peanut butter on the plane.
Oh, and peanut butter. I would pay $20 for peanut butter if I couldn't get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Joyce and Murray realize that he can't hear them because Murray really needs to pee apparently, and he's like trying to get Yuri's attention, but he has his like headphones on, he can't hear them. So they kind of start to make an escape plan, and this is a really funny conversation about Murray's karate skills, and I just love Joyce's line, is black not the highest color?
It's almost like she's egging him on because right away he's like, my oldest opponent was like, what, 11
16,
or 12?
Yeah,
16. And he's like, he was a fierce opponent. And she's like, we're fucked. But eggs him on, and they cut their ties using a broken jar of peanut butter.
Yeah, because she tries to like slide it over towards them.
Peanut butter saves lives, guys.
It does. But then we're back to Elle. She's running through the halls at the lab, what looks like the lab. But she just keeps ending up back in the rainbow room as the vision just keeps resetting. And then she ends up looking up at one of the cameras and like realizing that her reflection looks different, and looks in the mirror and realizes that she's young in her reflection. And then Brenner kind of like comes over the
intercom, which is kind of I can't. He's playing fucking opera music, and
Yeah.
the anxiety attack I'd be having. I'm like, this isn't helping. But he basically, like, what does he tell the
he
legend of?
explains about this opera about this woman named Nina which is about a woman who forgets that her husband died. Like, she blocks out that memory, so every day she goes to the train station to wait for him.
Oh, like
And,
that dog in the Richard Gere movie, Hibachi.
Hibachi's the dog
Hibachi?
called Hibachi, or
If
the
it's
movie?
not called Hibachi, guys, I am so embarrassed.
But Brenner's telling her that she needs to remember. So, like, basically, they've put her into a memory,
Yeah,
and
the only way out is to kind of like
yeah, to
give
like
in.
to leave your train station. And
Could you imagine someone saying that to you? I'm gonna say that to you for now on. Leave your train station.
leave your train station.
Tell me to fuck off and hang up.
But Owens tells Brenner that they don't have much time because he's kind of gotten a report of what
Speed it up.
happened in Hawkins, which I guess is like the gate opening at Wayne's house. They probably reported back about
Yeah.
that. Then we're back to the desert.
Back to the desert, and they are at
There's a
what?
phone booth in the middle
There's a
of the
phone
desert.
booth. Which, kids, if you don't know what a phone booth is, that's how you used to make calls back in the day. It cost a dime.
Wait. So this is a random connection, but like this is a phone booth, and there's also been like the phone booth in Russia that they use to like talk to Dmitri. But I had this random thought, and I've been like meaning to share it in our little like group chat on Instagram, but
Mm-hmm.
there's been like a lot of claw machines at like these promos for season 5, and
Mhm.
I'm like wondering if that's just because like claw machines are like trendy right now, or if there's going to be like a claw machine
Featured.
in season 5.
That's what you got
so-
out of the phone booth?
Yes.
I
Can
love
you
that.
can you diagnose my ADHD?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, right church, wrong pew.
But like, I don't know, like a phone booth is also just like some like this thing that you used to find all over the place and you don't see as much anymore.
Remember I told you about that Adventures in Babysitting when the homeless person's banging on it and the girl's trying to
That's
make
my
the call.
house.
Get out of my house! And I think it's in the what do you call it? The ones with cut this out. Oh, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh,
I think they use a time machine. That's a phone booth.
Okay.
So,
Ooh.
Who knows?
Ooh.
Phone booths.
Yeah, well, and Billy, there's a phone booth in season 2 or 3?
Which
Season
who,
3.
Who the hell were you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Like, how do you explain that? Like, a big tentacle just put a bunch of shit down my throat. Like, if I was the dispatcher, I'd be like, I'm getting a bad reception. All right, continue. What do they
Anyway,
figure out?
so they try to call the number that was inside the pen, and it's making these weird noises, which sounded a little familiar to me.
We kind of know those noises, yeah.
Which shows our age a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But it's like modem dial-up sounds.
Yep.
And if you used to be on the internet and somebody was trying to call
And you were trying to download a song. Devastating.
So they realize that it's not a phone that they're calling, it's a computer. And somehow they know this because of something called War Games, which is that
yeah.
a movie?
Yeah, 1983, Matthew Broderick.
Okay.
Would you like to play a game of chess?
Right. I have not seen that. Obviously.
Megan totally got that. Okay.
But Mike says that they need a hacker and that the only hacker that he knows lives in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Starts singing
And
just the never-ending story.
Will starts singing the never-ending story, and Argyle's like, that movie creeped me out, basically. But yeah, they're like, she saved the world last year, maybe she can save it again.
Saved it.
Or made it worse.
Made it maybe a little worse, but we love Susie.
Yeah, we love Susie.
So we go to Rick's, and Jason and company, Andy, Patrick, I think somebody else, they pull up, and they are going to look through Rick's house. It's breaking and entering much. And right away, Eddie, thank God, he's back in the boathouse. And he's right away like, oh my God, oh my God. So he starts frantically trying to radio Dustin and company, being like, the cat's out of the bag. They're going to find me eventually. But pretty old Steve, he dropped the bag and nobody can hear because they've split up and they're kind of exploring all around the house so they don't hear his panicked calls.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Then we go back to Vecna's house.
Oh, Vecna's house. Have you ever seen the reel where it's from Tiger King and it's like Eddie when the rest of the group wasn't answering the walk and he's like, I called for help twice, not a fuck you, what do you need or nothing. So that was him. And I like that we see like them kind of in their own little groups and stuff.
Yeah, and Dustin is quoting Sherlock Holmes
I'd
to
be
Steve.
done with this kid by then. Yeah, I'd be done.
And then Steve finds the bathroom with the spiders in it.
I hate spiders.
Yeah,
No,
awful.
that's Black Widow. That could kill him.
And then there's this like weird little moment with like Nancy and Steve is talking about how he's not dating Robin, but that he would, but I don't know. He's like,
and then you see him like almost let the cat out of the bag, and he's just like, never mind, And then he says that they should all get together after this is all done.
Yeah, he's happy that Nancy is friends with Robin now, is what he said. Which I mean,
okay,
you read some fan fiction, like
yeah.
They do become friends,
They
okay,
do.
guys. But he tries to quote Sherlock Holmes.
He
back
butchers
to
it.
Nancy. It's really awkward, but really endearing. We love Steve.
We do.
I'm gonna forget to say this, but like when we go back to Rick's house in a couple scenes here, it frustrates me because it's still light out when they go in Rick's house.
How long have they been
Like,
searching that house? It
Eddie,
couldn't have been that
you
big.
had more time. Why
coulda
didn't you start
swam away.
escaping?
Yeah, no.
Like, or like just not go out in the lake, like just go along the river or something. I mean, along the coast. Like, I don't know. Anyway, Max and Lucas are also kind of exploring, looking for clues, and they have like just a sweet little
Yeah, I love that he
moment.
says that he's a Kate Bush fan because she saved her life. And it's just, he misses the sound of her laugh. It's very cute, him playing the piano. And then I love that they see the lights kind of flicker. And yet again, she's like, am I just seeing that? Or like,
Yeah.
And right away they begin noticing that the lights are flickering throughout the house, including their flashlights. So they're like, it must be Vecna.
Right. And we cut back to the lab, which is in Elle's memory, and the kids are like manipulating electricity.
Yeah.
And they're laughing at her when it's her turn. And Brenner tells her to show them that she's not weak. But then she sees this blood on her hands and she has flashes of like the massacre. So we sort of get an idea that like we're getting towards that memory.
What went down? Yep.
Like that's the big memory that she has blocked out.
Yeah.
So
on the plane, basically what happens is Murray, his hands are like arrows, his fingers are like fists, whatever the line is. And like Yuri is just stunned and he actually overpowers him and it's a group effort, but they end up getting control. But unfortunately, the plane is already kind of nose diving into the forest. How they survived that is beyond me. But it kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger of them screaming and Murray trying to get control of the plane.
Yeah. Like he actually noticed that they were escaping because a can of peanut butter rolled over towards him, which
Betrayed
kind
by
of gave
peanut
them
butter.
away. And Murray knocks him out, which Joyce is like, I told you not to knock him out. He's got to drive the plane. So kind of like this huge fight. But it was very like entertaining to watch. A lot of like cool body stuff with the fight. But like they do crash, which sucks.
Whoops.
But back at the Creel house, they all like follow the lights in their flashlights.
Which is
and
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool visual scene.
It reminds me of like a Spielberg movie, almost like Poltergeist a little bit. Like they're following it. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And they realize that like Vecna is there, like right on the other side in the upside down. They follow him all the way up to the attic. And then we cut back over to what I was talking about before. The guys are like finishing searching the house.
I love that they
which,
toss the mattress over. Like, okay.
okay, I guess he's hiding under there. I don't know.
I guess so.
But Jason looks out the window and sees the boathouse.
Uh-oh.
And Eddie has not taken the opportunity to escape yet, Mr. Munson. So he's out on the lake. They see him. The
Which
engine
is
won't start.
Such a tense moment. If
Yeah.
anybody has ever tried to start an engine that way with the pull string thing, yeah, I've been there before. And he's trying to now paddle, and basically Patrick and Jason are like, let's get him. And it's March yet again. I'm like, you guys diving into that lake? Damn.
And like, were they on the swim team too? Because they were like strong
They were
swimmers.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they start swimming out, and it's just such a tense moment because Jason's like, come on, Patrick, come on, we're almost got him. And Patrick kind of almost like freezes in the water. And I love Eddie like trying to stand up on the canoe, going, stay back, man, stay back. And he's got the paddle. And then next thing you know, Patrick just lifts out of the water
Yeah.
like Fred,
Well,
like Chrissy.
actually, we go back
Oh, no,
to
he
the
gets
Creel house.
pulled down, right?
Well, we go back to the Creel house first, and we see that like they're all in the attic,
Mhm.
and there's this really cool like camera turn.
Yeah, it's circular, like
and
on
it
a dolly.
shows Vecna in his web. So
Mhm.
we kind of see that Vecna is like activated,
Yep.
and then that's when Patrick gets like thrown up in the air and breaks.
Yeah, I totally forgot that at first he gets pulled down, and you just see the look of like just shock on Jason and Eddie's face. They stop actually fighting. When
Yeah.
he lifts up, he of course does the Chrissy crumble, and it's just so horrifying because you see that these two have witnessed that, and
Right.
Eddie like is so stunned he falls backwards into the water and witnesses yet another horrific effing death. And I
And
love
all
all
of
the
Flashlights are like crashing, like
I
like
loved that part.
burning out
Almost
and like
exploding, yeah.
shattering. Yeah. And right at this moment, Elle wakes up also.
It's almost like they resuscitated her almost.
Yeah. She smacks Brenner and
Good for
tries to
you.
escape. And you realize that she has some of her powers back.
Because some of the guards try to grab her, right?
Yep. And then she sort of feels like confident in herself because she's kind of fought off these guards, and then Brenner's walking down the hallway and she tries to attack him and it doesn't
He's like,
work.
bitch, please, yeah.
And I love this little exchange. Brenner says, "You didn't think it would be that easy, did you?" And she's like, "I don't understand." He says, "I do." And then she says, "Papa."
Oh,
and he
God.
says, "Daughter."
Daughter. Oh, please.
And then she walks back down the hallway
With the
him.
opera music playing.
Yeah, it's very dramatic, but it's kind of like
It's full circle.
basically he's proved that like she's going to have to work with him.
My methods work. The only way
Yeah.
to get these powers back are through me. Yeah.
But it's
Dangling
very
carrot.
like it's a very intense ending with Patrick and the
Whew.
kids in the attic and like the flashlights exploding and Eddie
a good
falling in the
episode.
water. It's a great episode. I love all of my little Star Wars connections.
Of course you do.
And
it only ramps up from here.
Yeah,
Like, not that it
yeah.
hasn't, but I feel like the next episode, The Dive, and then the episode after that is my personal favorite, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab.
yeah,
And it
episode 7, right?
Yeah. And it
yeah.
just keeps ramping up until we hit volume 2. But no, this was a great episode. A lot happened and kind of leaves you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, and I love I mean, I guess like even with the little like Sherlock Holmes like connection, like it's very like mystery. I feel like it's very
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo, like
Yeah,
we're
Nancy
like solving
Drew.
this yes.
They go to
Yeah.
the haunted house. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
So
like old school 1970s, early 80s Disney movies where the kids would be exploring and trying to figure
Yeah.
out what was going on. So
exactly.
got a lot of those vibes. Definitely, like I said, Poltergeist, Escape from Witch Mountain, The Goonies, definitely. But it was just really cool to see 11 kind of get a little jolt of her power. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And to like see that we're going to kind of like see her when she was younger and figure out what happened at the beginning too. So, cool episode.
Cool episode.
We do have some time. So do you want to talk about any merch that you've been excited about?
I would love to, my dear. So I actually got the WSQK, the Squawk, exclusive vinyl from Target. Not bad, $24. It's this beautiful ruby red. And what I love is whenever they try to pack like little extras into the vinyl. So there's 2 posters for the Squawk, and it shows a bird on it. There's I think Robin's gonna wear this sweatshirt, and I know a lot of stores are selling it. It says like "Beam me up, this place sucks," but it's a sticker. Then there's a Squawk bumper sticker that I really love, and I like it so much I don't know if I want to put it on my car because I like how it looks. But it looks awesome, and it's featuring a lot of songs. There's some like old school songs like Queen. There's I Think We're Alone Now, Spirit in the Sky. So I'm just really excited about this whole aspect about the radio station, and we're beginning to see commercials for Gatorade and stuff where we might hear Robin or Steve's voices as the DJs. So pumped about that. Our good friend Eli sent me some of those Scoops Ahoy candies, and at first I was like, should these be refrigerated? No, they're fine. They're candies. We're gonna have to definitely try some. One is like chocolate pudding, and then one's like the mint flair. Haven't tried them yet, so I might do that for the Patreon. So really excited about that. I did track down the Doritos. We did talk about that in our live. I've yet to try them yet. What were your thoughts on them?
I think, did we talk about? Oh, we talked about it on the live. That's right.
Yeah.
Which we did not save.
I gave away my phone password, guys. It was bad.
That was fun though. They taste to me like the pizza combos.
Yes, yep.
Which not bad, just like it's kind of a weird taste, and I prefer just like regular Cool Ranch Doritos. Or my favorite Doritos are the spicy chili ones, the purple bag. So I mean they were fine. They're just like a little weird.
Got you. Now I'll definitely have to try them because now I'm like that and the Scoops candy.
You did find them now though, right?
I did. I found a big bag, and then Rachel sent me this really cool care package. So shout out to Rachel. I have a Demogorgon popcorn like bucket, which is insane, which I'm like, I'm gonna take this to the movies. I got that, and then she also hooked me up with a Joe poster for Another Bite along with a shirt. I'm trying to incorporate a little more color in my wardrobe, guys. I don't know how it's working out right now.
I love it.
I'm a vision in red right now.
You are.
Look at me. But yeah, I definitely wanted to have those framed for my walls. So slowly little things are starting to trickle out here and there. I do know that I think they're called Sasquatch soap. They're the ones that got into all that trouble for doing the Sydney Sweeney like bathwater soap. It's like for dudes. Well, they're doing a Stranger Things line, and there is one with Steve, and it's supposed to be like cherry cola flavored, and it probably smells like shit. But like the packaging is really cute.
If it's Steve, then Stacy needs it.
So of course, and like just the coloring is him in his Scoops uniform. So it's just it's the moment. I love it. So totally about that. And like I said, tomorrow is Stranger Things Day. We already know, like, they kind of tease some content, and we know that the casts are starting to do press and stuff. So I can't wait for it's going to be very overwhelming, but I cannot wait. Just pumped, you know?
Yeah, there's been so much going on for sure. And speaking of a vinyl, I know this isn't Stranger Things.
No, go for it, girl.
At my Hotel Mira show, my third show, the DC one, I was like, I have to do merch today because I was flying for the other 2 shows. So I did get their newest album, Pity Party, on vinyl. So
is this your first vinyl?
I mean, I have Trevor Hall vinyls, and I have the one Joe vinyl.
Nice.
But we gave away the other one. But I don't have a record player. Like when I lived at my parents' house, I like would use their record player sometimes. So I really should get one so I can.
You can get a cheap one on Amazon. Just watch out for the needle because they scratch up the vinyl. But that's cool though.
But the guys all signed it. It's really cool because it's like a white. I can show it to you. It's right here. But everybody on.
I'll describe it, guys.
But it's like
oh, pretty.
It's like the guy sitting at the bottom, and it's like a white backdrop with like Pity Party, and but like it's like perfect for them to like sign it because it's got all of that like white background.
I know. I'll have to give you some of my floating shelves that you can like display your vinyls on your walls because you want to display that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, and I also got one of their t-shirts, which is really cool because it's like a old school like hotel kind of like scene, like motel, like tropical vibe on the back.
Love that.
And I got a t-shirt from Nat Lefkoff, one of the openers too. That's really cool. I'll have to show you at some point, but it's very
Look at
colorful.
you go. I love that.
Yeah, so you gotta support. You gotta buy merch. Apparently,
Gotta buy
that's
merch, man.
you know, Passion Mango was saying that helps them buy Red Bull,
There you go.
which
There you
is
go.
very needed on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my little bit of shopping that I did this week. But
Love that.
the Stranger Things merch is so cool. I'm excited about the music, like you said.
Yeah, 100%.
And just excited to see what we get tomorrow for Stranger Things Day, which you'll be listening to this hopefully on Friday, and we'll have found that out by now. But
Yep. We already got
yeah.
the poster released, the official poster by Kyle Lambert, I believe his name
Yeah.
is. And that looks phenomenal. And we just got new character posters that came out. It's more of like a close-up of their heads, like a headshot. So those just dropped. So they're just doing a lot of press, a lot
Yeah,
of
and,
commercials.
I mean, we didn't talk about the trailer. I've only watched it once.
Really?
Like I've talked about before, I only watched the teaser trailer once too, because I just want to go into it with like as little as possible, because I've talked about this before. I don't think I think for season 4, like I maybe watched one of the trailers one time and just went in so like blind, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I enjoyed it so much. So I'm trying to like not watch too much about the trailer. My main thing was like, not enough Steve. What's going on?
Yeah, that made a lot of people nervous, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm also somebody that doesn't like, and nothing against the people that do it, that pick apart the trailers. That might be fun to do further down the road once everything's said and
Right.
done.
I loved how we did that episode where we looked back at the trailers
Mhm.
after, and we're like, oh, like this is actually what they were showing us,
Yep.
like in the trailer. But you don't want to know that going in.
We're very anti-spoiler. We know some stuff gets out no matter what, but we've been trying not to like look too deep into it. So I watched it a couple of times. Right away I was like, is that the song from Highlander? There
It
can only be
was.
one. There
Yeah.
can only be one. Just such a cheesy late 80s movie. So that was impressive. I'm not too sure how I feel right now. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I'm pumped, but at
The
the same
vibes are
time,
not necessarily what I expected.
some of it, yeah, I gotta be honest. And this is us. Like, we're not going to lie just for the sake of lying.
Yeah.
I was left a little, for some parts, like I said, and I've said this even on my own Instagram, some of the digital shots just weren't really vibing with me. I'm not really a huge fan of Vecna's new look. Maybe I need to see it better. It kind of like, I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I kind of preferred the teaser a little bit better.
Yeah. I
But
can
we'll
see that. Yeah.
You know?
And I'm sure we're going to love the season no matter what. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be things that we don't love about it too. Like,
Mhm.
and we'll talk about that too, because, it's not
We're-
all
We're real OGs, you know?
sunshine and rainbows. There is a rainbow room though.
There's a
Um,
rainbow room.
And, if we don't like the ending,
Then,
AO3 got us.
yeah, AO3 got us. Don't you worry, guys. Yeah.
All right, with that.
Where can they find us?
Oh, good. Thank you for reminding me about that. If you would like to hang out and chat, make sure that you find us on social media. We are most active on Instagram at Skullrock Broadcast. I am at Steady Stories, and Stacy is at Stay Still Reviews. So come find us there. Also, we have some bonus content. Like last week, we got like an early episode release on Patreon. So if you want to support the show, that is like a really helpful way for us to continue making this show sustainable, and just to keep, being able to make it. So we would appreciate your support. We love all of our Patreon members so much. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Until next
Until
time.
next time. Over and out.
Over and out.
Eddie.
I'm not sure I love the idea of you driving.
Oh, I'm starting to suffer. Harrington's got it. Don't you, big boy?
And we're back.
We're back.
So this is our secret segment where we talk about, what I threw in at the end there, little AO3 action. AO3 stands for Archive of Our Own, if you're super new here. But we know not everybody likes fan fiction and wants to interact with the show in that way, but we just think it's a really fun way to continue living in the world of our favorite characters, and it's like something that's also helping me a lot to get through the show ending. And because I know that there's so many fanfics that I haven't read and that I'll be able to read if I want to. So it just expands the universe of the show that we love so much and allows us to kind of live in it more.
Yeah.
And we also really just like Steve Harrington and Eddie Munson to have a happy ending together.
Just saying, guys.
If that's not your thing, feel free to turn it off and catch us next time.
Yeah.
But I have not really been reading any fan fiction. I've been a little busy going to concerts, following my favorite band around a little bit. But I'm really excited to hear what you've been reading.
All right. So I was so excited from O-Stars. They updated
Ooh, I love them.
They're so good. They updated their story. You carved the space for my sadness to be seen for once. Hold on to me. And it's basically about how Steve in season 1 knocks up a girl over the summer before Nancy came to be. And they made an arrangement. She was like, I don't want the baby. And he raises the baby. And he has a daughter, and her name's Charlotte. And I think we're currently up to, after season 3, the fall before season 4, Els moved away with Will. And, Hopper kind of took him under his wing as a single dad and stuff. So he feels like, he's lost, a family member because of that. He has a lot of trauma from season 3. But it was a really cute episode, especially dropping when it did, because it was Halloween and you find out that Eddie's actually in his life and he kind of has a crush on him because Wayne watches Charlotte. So he dresses her up as a duck and he takes her trick-or-treating, and it's just really sweet. And they go to Wayne's trailer and Wayne gives her animal crackers and stuff. And Robin's kind of going you keep writing Elle, you kind of want to visit. Why don't you visit? And he's like, it's not that easy, with the baby. And she's like, I think you need to visit for Thanksgiving. So I'm kind of hoping that drops before Thanksgiving. But it's just really sweet, Steve just being a single dad. And I'm telling you, I recommend it if you haven't read it.
Yeah.
Read it, Megan.
I love that because I remember when I was reading The Man That I Could Be, which is O-Stars, which is the very first fic that I ever read, when they sort of kind of wrapped up the main storyline, they were continuing to write chapters that sort of went along with the holidays. So there was the Halloween and the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, and it's just really cool to just kind of live in that world and coordinate that with the holiday. I also love reading Christmas steady fics. I'm
good.
excited for new ones of those, or to reread some of my favorites of those this year. And it made me think of I forgot when we were just talking about stuff at the end that we didn't really talk about your Halloween costumes, but they were both incredible.
I hope you liked them.
I loved them so much.
I had to take the pictures a little ahead of time because I did get really sick, guys. But I always dress up on Devil's Night, so I was Gator from Fargo, Joe Keery.
So cool.
And then the next night I was Joe Keery from the Link music video. So that photo shoot of him wearing the Buzzcock shirt that says Love Bites. So tried my best to capture the hair.
Yeah, they were so good. I just wanted to shout that out.
Thanks. Make me blush.
But yeah, what's the other? Oh, and also I didn't read it yet, but I think Morning Berries put out something new this week.
Bitch, okay.
Maybe with somebody else. Maybe I'm making this up, but I'm almost 98%
I think you're right.
positive that I got an email about that.
Well, we know how we feel about that author, so I am
Yes.
pumped.
All-time fave.
right?
And I'm still trying to like figure out how to like get back into Scorpio Skies because
We're working
that
on
has
it.
been continuously updating. I think that the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas is going to be a good time for me to like read fic.
Oh yeah.
And I think I'm going to need it with like season 5, like
Yep.
so that I'm
It's
not
gonna help.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the other one that you were
and
going
me
to talk
will be
about?
sending each other links. The
Yeah.
last one was something I actually just read this morning. It's called High and Lonesome by Dead Rats. And believe it or not, that author is incredible.
I've read that author before. Yeah, they're
That
great.
author is so good. And High and Lonesome, it's just a one-shot. But it's basically, and he gets way too high in his trailer. And he starts freaking out. And if you've ever done that before, whoo, you know you've gone past the point of no return. So he starts to panic. And he ends up calling Steve up. And he's like, I'm sorry, we really haven't hung out since everything went down. So he was like, no worries. And he takes him to a diner that, like, Jonathan now works at. And basically, you know, does what you have to do to get onto high. You eat. And then he's like, why don't we just hang out at your place? And it's really sweet what ends up happening. And it's just
Aw,
like, it's
I definitely
fluff.
want to read
It's
it. Yeah.
really cute, but it's cozy.
You have to text me the link for that.
I
Yeah.
will. It just right away when I read it, I was like, you know, this is nice. This is why I love reading this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
just a feel good fic.
Yeah. Love just like that like comforting vibe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So cool. Well, I'm glad we did this because
Yeah.
this has made me want to check some of these fics out.
Woo.
And can definitely need some comfort at this time of year
Amen.
with like the early dark and everything.
Hanging on by
So,
a string.
yeah.
Ugh.
But we will get through it together.
We will.
And we can't wait to, again, keep chatting about season 4. And we are going to get it done before season 5.
Hell yeah,
So
we are.
we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace. We did like it together for both.
I know.
of
Do you notice
them.
that? Look at that. We're so in sync.